Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before starting any new supplements or protocols. Results are not guaranteed. Accessing bodyglitch database now.
I want you to try something for me right now. Go ahead and close your eyes just for a second. Now, keep them closed, but imagine you're looking at a bright white wall. Now, open them. For a lot of people, that wall is just a blank canvas.
Yeah.
But for you, it might look like someone just shook a dirty rug out inside your head.
The dreaded floaters.
The squiggles.
Yeah.
The cobwebs. These little gray worms that drift into your vision and then, whew, they just dart away the second you try to look at them.
Yeah.
It's maddening.
It really is. It's like a form of visual torture for some people. It's like having a fly buzzing around your face that you can never ever swat because the fly is actually inside your eyeball.
And here's the worst part. You finally get so sick of it, you panic. You think your retina is detaching or, I don't know, something is seriously wrong.
Of course. It's your vision.
So you rush to the optometrist, they do the whole thing, they dilate your eyes, shine that blinding light in there, and then you just drop the hammer. Your eyes are healthy.
It's just age. Learn to live with it. Ugh. That phrase, learn to live with it, is probably one of the most frustrating things a patient can hear. Because, yes, technically, your eye isn't about to explode. You aren't going blind.
Right.
But telling someone to just ignore a constant degradation of their vision, it's so dismissive. It completely ignores the psychological toll it takes.
It feels like gaslighting. A little bit.
Yeah.
You're seeing debris, and they're telling you the window's perfectly clean. But we know our listeners. You aren't the type to just shrug and accept a lower quality of life. If there's a glitch in the system, you want to debug it.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. We're looking at something called the bodyglitch protocol. It's basically a stack of research and a whole regimen designed for the people who walked out of that doctor's office feeling totally unheard.
So we're going to look at the biology of why your eye is, I guess, turning into a lava lamp, and how to use specific compounds to maybe start clearing that haze. And I want to flag something right up top. We are going to talk about pineapples. But if you think you can just eat a fruit cup and fix your eyesight, you're going to be very disappointed.
Oh, definitely. There's a very specific trick to making this work that most people miss. And if you get it wrong, you're really just having an expensive snack.
It's the difference between a tasty treat and actual medicine.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so let's start with the hardware. I know what a floater looks like, but what is it actually made of? Is it dust? Dead cells? What is it?
That's a great question, and it's a common misconception that it's on the surface. It's deep inside. You have to picture the vitreous body.
Okay.
Think of your eyeball like a little fishbowl, but it's not filled with water. It's filled with a clear, firm gel, sort of like Jell-O that hasn't quite set all the way.
Right. Clear Jell-O. I'm with you.
So in a perfect young eye, that Jell-O is almost all water, but it's held together by this microscopic scaffold of type 2 collagen fibers and...
Hyaluronic acid. I've heard of that.
Exactly. It's perfectly transparent. Light just shoots right through it to the retina. No problem.
So where do the worms come from?
Well, entropy. As we age, or, due to stress and other factors, that scaffold starts to break down. The Jell-O begins to liquefy in some spots and then clump up in others. Those collagen fibers, which should be perfectly spaced and invisible, they start tangling into knots.
And a floater is the knot.
The floater is actually the shadow of the knot.
Whoa.
When light enters your eye, it hits that little clump of protein, and it casts a shadow on your retina, the screen at the back of your eye. That's why it moves when you move your eye. The clump is just sloshing around in that liquefied gel, casting this moving shadow.
Okay, that makes so much sense. But here's my issue. I'm not that old. I know people in their 20s and 30s who are dealing with this. So why is my Jell-O melting prematurely?
That's the key question, isn't it? And it's not just age anymore. The sources we're looking at today point to several triggers, and one of the big ones is something they call tech neck.
Tech neck? Wait a minute. You're telling me that my neck hurting is rotting my eyeballs?
Yeah.
That feels like a bit of a stretch.
It sounds totally unconnected, I know. But think about the plumbing. Your eyes are incredibly active, metabolically speaking. They need a huge supply of nutrients and oxygen to maintain that gel structure.
Okay.
And all of that blood has to travel up through the carotid arteries in your neck.
Right.
So if you spend 8 hours a day hunched over a laptop, your shoulders are tight, head forward. Maybe you get tension headaches. You are physically restricting blood flow to your own head. You're crimping the hose.
So the eye is literally starving.
Exactly. It starves, oxidative stress builds up because the waste products aren't getting flushed out, and then that collagen structure starts to collapse. Add the high-energy blue light from the screen, frying the proteins directly. And you've got a perfect storm for early-onset floaters.
Wow. So it's a plumbing issue and a pollution issue.
Precisely. And that's why this protocol isn't just one pill. It's a whole system designed to address the starvation, the inflammation, and the structural breakdown itself.
Okay, let's get into the toolkit. The protocol you send over has a core 3 stack to fix this. But I have to play devil's advocate here for a sec. If my ophthalmologist says there's no cure, how is a vitamin supposed to fix it?
That's a totally fair question. The doctor's right that you can't, surgically remove them without a very high risk. A vitrectomy is a serious, serious surgery.
Okay.
But this protocol isn't surgery, it's chemistry. It's about giving your body the tools to support its own natural cleanup crew.
Let's start with the first one then. Benfotiamine.
Mm.
I've heard of vitamin B1, thiamine. This sounds like the expensive version. Why can't I just take a drugstore B complex and call it a day?
You could, but it wouldn't be nearly as effective for this problem. Standard vitamin B1 thiamine is water-soluble. It's great, but it has a really hard time passing through fatty cell membranes to get where it needs to go, especially deep into the nerves and the eye.
And benfotiamine.
It's fat-soluble.
So it has a VIP pass to get inside the cells.
Basically, yeah, it penetrates the lipid layers of your cells much more effectively. And once it's inside, it does something absolutely critical. It helps prevent glycation.
Which is what exactly?
It's sugar damage. You know how bread turns brown when you toast it?
Mm.
That's a reaction between the sugar and the protein. Glycation is basically that process happening inside your body. Sugar molecules bind to proteins and caramelize them, making them stiff and brittle. That's the last thing you want happening to the collagen in your eye. Benfotiamine helps stop that process in its tracks.
Okay, so we're preventing the eye from getting toasted. Got it. But that stops new damage.
Yeah.
What about the clumps that are already there? I guess this is where we get to the pineapple. Bromelain.
Yes.
Honest opinion. This sounds like an old wives' tale. Eat some pineapple, cure your eyes.
It does sound like that, I get it. But the science is actually fascinating. Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a pair of molecular scissors that cuts up protein.
And floaters are protein clumps.
Correct. The theory is that if you can get enough of these molecular scissors into the bloodstream and into the eye, they can start to chop up that debris. But, and you have to listen closely here because this is where everyone fails, if you just go buy regular bromelain from the health food store, it is completely useless for your eyes.
Why?
Because your stomach is full of strong acid. If you swallow an enzyme, your stomach acid just sees it as food. It digests the scissors. They never, ever reach your bloodstream. It just becomes a very expensive digestive aid for whatever you had for lunch.
So how do you sneak it past the security guard?
You need something called enteric coating. It's a special polymer shell around the pill that's acid resistant. It survives the stomach, travels to the small intestine where the pH is neutral, and then it dissolves and gets absorbed into the bloodstream fully intact.
Okay, that is such a crucial detail. I can see so many people buying the wrong stuff and wondering why nothing is happening.
It happens all the time, and the timing matters too. You have to take it on an empty stomach.
Why empty?
Because if there's food in your stomach, even with the coating, the enzyme might get distracted or delayed in its journey. You want a clear runway for it to get absorbed systemically.
So 500 to 1,000 milligrams, empty stomach, and it has to be enteric coated. That's the cleaner.
That's the cleaner.
All right, so we have the nerve protector and the cleaner. The third member of this core team is the antioxidant shield. The protocol lists a product called Makugard, but really we're talking about 3 specific pigments: lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin.
Exactly. And you can think of these as internal sunglasses. These compounds are really unique because they cross the blood-retina barrier, and they actually accumulate in the back of your eye. They literally stain the tissue a yellowish-orange color.
Which sounds kind of weird, but I'm guessing that's a good thing.
It's essential. That pigment physically absorbs high-energy blue light before it can hit your delicate rods and cones. It's a physical shield against the radiation from your phone from the sun. Without it, you're just exposing your retina to naked UV and blue light constantly.
Okay, so that's the big 3. But the protocol doesn't stop there. There's a whole supporting cast aimed at rebuilding the gel itself.
Right.
Since the vitreous is made of hyaluronic acid and collagen, it makes sense that we should probably supplement with those, right?
Ideally, yes. The protocol suggests taking hyaluronic acid and type 2 collagen specifically. The idea is to help rehydrate the vitreous. Think of it as trying to turn that watery, degraded gel back into a firmer jello.
And then we have the circulation squad.
Right, remember the garden hose analogy. You can't repair a house if the delivery trucks can't get to the driveway. We need blood flow. Taurine is mentioned. It's an amino acid that is absolutely essential for retinal health. Ginkgo biloba is a classic for improving microcirculation in the head. And then CoQ10 and PQQ to power up the mitochondria, the little batteries of the eye cells.
That is a lot of pills. And I did notice the source material gives a nod to the budget-conscious listener.
Yes. You can buy fancy blends from brands like Life Extension, which are great and convenient, but if you're on a budget, you can get plain powders from places like bulk supplements for things like taurine. It's cheaper, but you have to be willing to play a chemist in your kitchen.
Absolutely. And speaking of playing chemists, we need to talk about safety. Because my instinct, and I think a lot of people's instinct, is to buy everything on this list and just start swallowing it all tomorrow morning to fix this fast.
Please, please do not do that. The guide has a very strict rule. Introduce one new supplement every 2 to 3 days.
Why this slow roll?
Because if you have a reaction, you need to know what caused it. Maybe the ginkgo gives you a headache, or the magnesium upsets your stomach. If you take 10 new things at once, you have no idea who the culprit is. Also, some B vitamins can cause a niacin flush.
Oh, I've had that. You turn bright red and feel like you're on fire.
Right. It's harmless, but it is terrifying if you aren't expecting it. It passes in an hour or so, but if you start slow, you can manage these things. You have to listen to your body.
Okay, so that covers the chemistry. But this deep dive isn't just about what you swallow. It's about how you live. And the protocol includes a resource from way back in the 1920s, a book by William H. Bates called The Bates Method for Better Eyesight Without Glasses.
Yes, and this is where we have to tread a little carefully. Bates is a controversial figure in modern ophthalmology.
Yeah, I looked him up. Some people say his throw away your glasses stuff is total pseudoscience. So why is this in the protocol?
You're right to be skeptical. Bates made some pretty wild claims, and we aren't endorsing all of that. But his core insight about tension is incredibly relevant to floaters.
How so?
Bates believed we stare too hard. We lock our focus. When you're staring at a screen, you stop blinking, your eye muscles get rigid, and you create this constant strain. That strain restricts fluid exchange in the eye.
So the Bates method here isn't about throwing away my glasses. It's about learning to relax the eyeball itself.
Exactly. It's like physical therapy for your eyes. His most famous technique is called palming.
I actually tried this before we started recording. It feels, I don't know, suspiciously simple.
Okay, walk me through what you did.
I just rubbed my hands together to get them warm. Then I cupped them over my closed eyes.
Did you press on your eyeballs?
No, just cupped them, like making a little dark cave.
And what did you see?
Well, darkness. Mostly. There was still some flashy lights, a little static.
That's the visual noise of a strained optic nerve. The goal of palming is to achieve perfect black. When you block out all light and add that gentle warmth, the optic nerve finally stops firing. It's a deep reset for the system. If you do that for 5 minutes a day, you aren't just resting the eye, you're allowing the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, to take over. That improves circulation, which helps flush out the metabolic waste that contributes to floaters.
It's basically yoga for your eyes.
Pretty much. And there are other things like sunning and swinging. The connection to floaters is indirect, but it's logical. If you reduce muscle tension and improve fluid flow, you're helping the eye's natural processes clear out waste.
It's free, it's low risk, and honestly, we could all probably use 5 minutes of total darkness in our day.
I could not agree more.
Okay, speaking of modern habits, let's touch on screens again. The protocol recommends blue light blockers, but not just any glasses.
No, the clear ones you get with your prescription that have an anti-reflective coating, that is not enough. The source recommends amber or orange lenses that block 70 to 90% of blue light, especially in the evening.
So you have to be willing to look a little goofy.
You might look like you're wearing safety goggles from a science class, but blue light is high energy. It creates oxidative stress. Wearing those orange glasses is like putting up a shield so your own antioxidants don't have to work so hard. It preserves your lutein levels.
And the 20-20-20 rule.
The golden rule of digital hygiene. Every 20 minutes, you look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. It breaks the accommodation spasm, that locking up of your lens muscle.
I love that. So practical. Just look out the window.
Unless you see a floater, in which case, don't try to focus on it.
Right. Which brings us to the so what of this whole deep dive. We've got the fat-soluble B1, the stealth mode pineapple enzyme, the palming. What can you actually expect? Is this a cure? If I do this for a week, is my vision going to be 4K crystal clear?
Okay, we absolutely need to manage expectations here. The eye is a very slow healing organ. The vitreous isn't like your skin. It doesn't just regenerate overnight.
So what's a realistic timeline?
Most people who are consistent with the protocol report that their floaters become less bothersome or start to fade in about 6 to 8 weeks.
Less bothersome. I can see how that might sound underwhelming to someone looking for a miracle.
It might, but if you're currently seeing a giant spider web every time you look at a spreadsheet, reducing that opacity by even 50% is life-changing. It's the difference between a really dirty windshield and a slightly dusty one. You can drive safely with the dusty one.
And there's a psychological victory there, too.
Huge. Instead of feeling helpless because a doctor told you to live with it, you are taking action. You're improving your systemic health, your blood sugar, your inflammation, your nutrient levels. Even if the floaters only fade a little, your eyes and your entire body are healthier for it. You're stopping the progression.
That's the empowerment piece. You're moving from being a passive victim to an active participant in your own health.
And remember, the floaters are often just the messenger. They're telling you that your body is under stress, or it's undernourished, or it's overexposed to blue light. By treating the floaters, you're really treating the whole system.
So if you're ready to stop swatting at invisible flies, here's your mission. First, check out the bodyglitch PDF. We'll have that linked up for you. It has the full table of dosages, the specific product links for the enteric coated stuff, because remember, regular bromelain is not going to work, and all the safety guides.
And I'd really suggest grabbing a copy of the Bates book, or at the very least looking up a tutorial on palming. It's such a great tool to have in your back pocket when your eyes just feel completely fried at the end of the day.
And we want to hear from you. Have you tried bromelain? Did palming give you any relief? Or do you have a different trick for managing these things?
Yeah, share your experience. Because the more we share, the less alone we all feel in that frustration.
Okay, here's a final thought to chew on. We spend so much time worrying about what we see, the news, our feeds, our work on a screen, but we rarely think about the actual machinery that allows us to see it all. Maybe those little floaters are just a gentle reminder from your body to close your eyes, take a breath, and maybe look inward for a change.
Sometimes the best way to see clearly is to just stop looking so hard.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you hopefully a little more clearly on the next one.
That's the update for today. Full protocol with dosages and links in the description. Grab it if you want to try. Subscribe for more, and remember, you're not alone in this glitch. Session terminated. Welcome to the body glitch. Subscribe to upgrade your biology.